let's start our today's topics of RODTP scheme. So RODTP scheme, name itself is too much complicated that government has introduced this scheme for the exporter. And if you pronounce that name, that itself is complicated. So scheme is also, we will discuss whenever we are discussing we are going through the scheme, you will get how much complicated scheme is. So uh, if we see the exporters or background of the exports and the background of this scheme, why this scheme is introduced. First of all, this scheme has announced or introduced or public, if you refer, there is a PI, that is a press release issued by the government for announcing the scheme. Press release has issued, and that press release itself has issued on 31st December 2020 at 8:40 p.m. So, and that press release says that the scheme is implemented from 1st January 2021. So even 24 hours was not available with the exporters to prepare for the scheme and to get the knowledge of the scheme. And even after that press release, government has issued one advisory wherein they had mentioned some mandatory requirement under the scheme, which you have to follow from the 1st January 2021 itself if you intend to claim the benefit of the scheme. So this requirement again is, one can say, it's mandatory from the 1st January itself. So within 24 hours, government is thinking that you should read that advisory and you should comply with that advisory from the 1st January itself. So friends, we are going to discuss that also, what type of compliance you require to follow, or what type of procedure you have to follow if you intend to claim the benefit. But before that, definitely we will discuss why you intend to add, how you can do the cost benefit analysis, and whether you have to go to the scheme or not, or you have to opt to the scheme. So if you bifurcate our today's session, in our today's session, first we are going to discuss the current FTP policies. So first we will focus or we will get the overview of the current FTP policies or the FTP benefit which are available to the exporters, and what are the benefit under that schemes. And on account of that current, with comparison of the current FTP policies, we are going to discuss why RODTP, that is new scheme required by the government. So why on sudden basis, there are many challenges before the government, like pandemic scenario is there. The other challenges are also there, but why the scheme is introduced in between such a scenario, at that road tax scheme. Then what is the road tax scheme? So we are going to discuss what is the road tax scheme definitely, and what readiness is required to opt for the scheme. Then we are going to discuss online procedure as well as some of the declarations required under the scheme. Then we will discuss about the comparison of the current scheme and road tax scheme, so that you can compare both the schemes, so that and on the basis of cost benefit analysis, you can decide whether the scheme is beneficial for my entity or not. And last and not but least, the way forward from the today's session for all the exporters or the consultant who are giving the consultancy in the field of the exporter. So let's start our today's session. So just to see overview about the current policies and why we require this overview, because before understanding the scheme, it is necessary that what is the current position of the FTP policies and why that scheme required. So as an overview, the government always benefit the exporter by way of two ways. One is exemption and one is remission. What is means by exemption and remission? So friends, some of the benefits are that you are exempted by way of paying the duty. So at the time of transaction itself, the duty is exempted. So you are not required to pay duty at all. It's called an exemption. And what is the remission? In the case of remission, you have to first pay the duty, and then after satisfying the certain conditions only, you get the remission of the duty. That is, after export, you can say you get the remittance. So any benefit provided by the government are of the two forms. One is exemption and one is remission. So if we look into the export benefits available to the exporters, there are mainly three types of benefits available to the exporter. First benefit available is related to GST refund. So exporter has the benefit of the GST refund. In the GST refund, government gives the GST. So if you are exporting the goods without LUT, then definitely ITC benefit, or you can claim the refund of the ITC. And with LUT, you get the if you refer, you can export with LUT, then ITC refund is available, and without LUT, then you get the export paid IGST. Similarly, there are duty drawbacks available in certain scenario, and there are some import benefits. So at the time of importation itself, some import benefits or import duties are exempt. So mainly these three kinds of benefits are available to the exporters now. Now, why these benefits available, or why the remission or the refund is available to the government? So main objective of each and every, or any of the benefits given to the exporter, is mainly government intent the exporter should export the goods, or the goods exported should be zero rated. So why it should zero rated? Because government intent that the, or any of the country's government's intention is to make our product, or like in India, Indian export competitive globally. So this is the main intention, to make the product zero rated, and hence government always towards the exempting the taxes or local taxes, so that the export cost would be reduced. So at present, there are three kinds of benefits available. First, benefit at the time of import. So whenever you are importing the goods, there are three schemes available: advance authorization scheme, duty-free import authorization scheme, and export promotional capital goods scheme. Then benefit after export, there are certain benefits which are available after export. So duty drawback scheme, MEIS, so merchant export India scheme. So RODTEP scheme replaced MEIS scheme. So in the place of the MEIS, one can say we are going to discuss the RODTEP. Then SEIS for the service sector, and there are status-based incentives available like export-oriented unit schemes, EOU, and SEZ. So these are the current benefits available to the exporter. So let's start our today's main topic, RODTEP. In 2018 has challenged that the Indian export or benefits given in case of Indian exports are not in tune with the articles of the SCM agreement. So first question arises. So everyone is saying whenever you look into the sessions or etc., everyone is saying that the benefits are, or Indian policies are not in tune with the WTO agreement. But what is WTO and what is SCM agreement? So WTO long form is World Trade Organization. Many of you may aware about, but WTO is the successor of the GATT. So in 1995, there was a GATT, and after that WTO was formed, and almost 164 countries are the members of the WTO. So India is amongst one of the member of the WTO. So whenever any country is the member of the WTO, then the guidelines which are known as SCM agreements, or whatever the trade would be happen on the basis of that guideline, that is known as the agreement on the SCM, that is subsidies and countervailing measure agreement. So this agreement decide the terms between the member countries. So accordingly, USA had challenged that the Indian subsidiaries are not as per that agreements which which are between the countries. So if you see, the WTO has three functions, that is the dispute resolution, negotiation for market access, and monitoring. Amongst that dispute resolution function place whenever there is any dispute between the member countries, like wherein USA has challenged the Indian country. So when in the dispute resolution function, there are two stages. So in first stage, they form the panel and to hear the case. First panel decide the case, and then in second stage, appellate body is there. So if the aggrieved party can file the appeal to the appellate authority. So in case of Indian subsidy, US when challenged in 2018 that India are inconsistent or India was inconsistent with the SCM agreement. That means if you see SCM agreement, that says that the any subsidies given by the member countries should not be depend on the export performance. And if you see the Indian benefit given are depends on the FOB value of the exports. And hence the US had challenged that the it depends on the export performance and hence not in tune with that agreement. Now, friends, when when US had challenged that dispute resolution, form the panel, and in front of the panel or panel decides against India. So decision of the panel is that the Indian subsidies under duty-free import for the exporter scheme should be withdrawn within 90 days. Then subsidies of the EOU and EPS should be withdrawn within 120 days and SEZ scheme within 180 days. So this is the panel decision. Afterwards, what India has appealed to the appellate body. So India against the panel decision, India has already filed the appeal against the ruling of the DRP, that is dispute resolution panel, with the appellate body. But now appellate body is dysfunctional because of there are no minimum judge requirement of 3 judges is not there, and hence this become dysfunctional from December 2019. So if you see the current position, that is dysfunctional, and meanwhile the government is thinking to replace the current FTP policies which are not in tune with the WTO. So that's why that this scheme introduced this scheme. So what are the subsidies or what are the subsidies challenge at the WTO? So EPCG, SEZ, EOUP, ESTP, DFIS and MIS, these are the subsidies challenged at the WTO by US. And what are the subsidies? So SEIS, so Service Export India Scheme, which is available for the service sector, and the Advanced Authorization Scheme is not yet challenged. But again, in our view, that can also be challenged in days to come because this scheme also depends on the export performance. Hence, it's better to replace these schemes also. And government is also replacing or even government from April 2021, we will have the new FTP policies altogether. So there is a thought process of replacing all the schemes. So first they had replaced the ROTTF or introduced the RODTEP scheme. So what is RODTEP scheme? So long form of RODTEP scheme is the remission of the duties and taxes on the exported product. So word itself is remission. So at the starting or at the initiation of the session itself, we had discussed the two forms of the benefit. One is either exemption or the remission. So this is in the form of the remission. That means you have to first discharge the duties and then you can claim the remittance from the government based on the conditions or conditions prescribed or based on the procedure followed given under the scheme. So friends, if you discuss the path and how the scheme has introduced so in budget 2020, the government has inserted section 51B in the Custom Act. So section 51B in the Custom Act has introduced to automate the procedure of the scripts, etc. So we will discuss section 51 in more details so that you get why the or what is the intention to introduce the insertion of the section 51B in the Custom Act. Then on 13th March 20, the Union Cabinet given an approval for the introduction of the RODTEP scheme. So Union Cabinet has given an approval for introduction on 13/20, and after that, within 1 month, on 15th April 2020, they had announced that the MEIS scheme is available only up to 30th December 2020. So even though the press release is issued on the 31st December for the implementation, if you see the trade notice 3/2020 issued on 15th April, that announcement has made that the MEIS is available, or MEIS available only up to 13 December 2020. Accordingly, MEIS has replaced, or accordingly, RODTEP is replaced on 1st January. So even the press release is issued delayed. Everyone should be or was aware on the 15th April 2020 that MEIS is not available for the, or was not for the next year. So on 13th July, if you see, the RODTEP committee has constituted, and on 1st September, you aware that the government has announced a cap on the MEIS, and 31st December, RODTEP scheme or press release is issued to implement the RODTEP scheme. So everyone was always thinking for the extension. So no one was ready for the implementation of the scheme on time or the 1st January, and hence readiness between the exporter seems to be quite challenging at the initial stage. So we will also discuss about the what readiness you required from itself, and if you had not did that, then what is the consequences? So if you see the key features of introduction of RODTEP scheme, first it is as said, it is a WTO, or as per the WTO guidelines, because it is not based on the FOB value of the export. So it's not based on the export performance, and hence one can say it is a WTO as per the WTO guidelines. Second, it going to be it replaced, or it is introduced to replace the MEIS scheme. So current MEIS scheme is not available from the 1st January 2021. So MEIS scheme, what is RODTEP scheme? So it aims to reimburse. So what is the reimbursement you are going to get? So you are going to get the reimbursement of the embedded taxes. So under these schemes, you are going to get the embedded taxes reimbursement, and that rate is decided by the government. So at the before last year, so in 2020 itself, government has requested a data from the exporter, and we had also arranged that session at that time, but many of the exporter has submitted or many has not submitted. So that data has requested by the government to compute the benefit and what are the embedded tax in the product. So let's say steel. So government intend to know what are the embedded tax in the steel and what is means by embedded tax. So friends, in case of embedded tax, if you see embedded tax, then there are certain taxes whenever exporter. So you aware that the whenever exporter export, so whatever the outward supply is always exempt for the exporter. So there is an option that it can be made without GST or with GST. Then GST credit is then GST is refunded. So one can say that output is always exempted, or duties are not levied on the output of the exported product. But what are the embedded duties? So at the time of procurement of the raw material, at the time of incurring expenses, there are certain taxes are levied to the exporter also, like mandi taxes, which are never refunded to the exporter, electricity duties, excise and VAT also. Whenever they purchase petroleum product, then excise and VAT is levied, that is not refunded. Then GST on URD purchases. So how GST on URD purchases is to the exporter? So friend, whenever exporter purchase the goods from the unregistered dealer, what happened? Unregistered purchaser again has such a certain expenses from the registered dealer wherein GST has been levied. So that GST cost is inbuilt in the URD purchases. So that cost is going get shifted to the export product. So GST on URD purchases is also one of the costs which is not refunded, which was not refunded earlier to the exporter. Then road tax, property tax, stamp duty, embedded GST paid on the inputs such as pesticides, fertilizers, agricultural goods, etc. So whatever the embedded taxes in the procurement which are not directly available to the refund or vendors of the exporters. So there are certain embedded taxes to the vendors also. So vendors of the exporter also shift or pass on the cost of the tax or tax cost to the exporter, and alternatively or that get passed on to the other in the export product. And this government thought that these embedded taxes should be refunded to the exporter. So now what is the methodology for the refund or remission of these taxes? So government has collected the data or had collected the data last year itself from the exporter product wise to determine the what are the embedded taxes. So they had prescribed the form R1, R2, R3, which were required to be filled by the exporter and submit the data to the government. So accordingly, government is going to notify the rates for the embedded taxes for the exporter. The rates are not yet notified. They had just implemented the scheme before mentioning the rates, etc. So so this is about the background of the ROTTF. Now the insertion of the section 51. So section 51, we had discussed that the inserted in the Custom Act, and why this is inserted. This section gives the manner to issue the duty credit. So earlier there is no automation, but to make the automation section, this section has inserted, and this gives the manner for the issue of the credit. And as per this section, the government has given a power to issue the credit or issue the remission in the form of the custom automated system, in the form of the electronic credit ledger. So this section, one can say, empower the government to issue the credit in the form of the electronic duty credit ledger. So like one can say GST has an electronic credit ledger, now custom also has itself having an electronic credit ledger wherein you get the benefit of the duty. So this section, as discussed, mainly introduced to give the power to give the power to prescribe the manner for the how the credit of the embedded duties are given to the exporter. Second, this section, if you refer subclause 3, subclause C3 says that the credit given or the electronic duty credit ledger can be used by the exporter for the payment of the import duties, or it can be transferred to the another person. So like script only, either you can use that for your product or for your import, or you can transfer it to the another exporter who is in the need of the paying the duty, or you can use for the paying the duty. So this is the form in which the government is going to give the benefit under the RODTEP scheme. So this is about the overview. What is the scheme? How the benefits is going has computed by the government, and what are the how the government is going to give the benefit to the exporter. So methodology. So we had discussed about the methodology. So now readiness. So what readiness exporter needs to implement the scheme? So friends, this is the key to be. So please concentrate what readiness as an exporter you should require from the 1st January 2021. So there are five steps to avail the credit benefit, and first step is essential and which already implemented from the 1st January. So first step, if you have to avail this benefit of the RODTEP, the declaration of the intention to avail the benefit of the scheme on the shipping bill itself. So before filing of the shipping bill, you have to declare the intention that you intend to avail this benefit. If you are not declared this such an intention, or if you are not given the declaration of the intention of the availment of the on the shipping bill or before filing of the shipping bill, that you are not going to get the benefit. Then in the second step, once you declare that you required or you intend to claim the benefit, then at the second step, that process, so on the basis of your intention, the benefit will be processed by the custom department. Then custom department will have an authority to generate the scroll. They will generate the scroll. After generation of the scroll, claiming of the credit and the generation of the credit skip, these two options are made available to the exporter, by which you can either claim the credit or generate the credit scheme, credit script. Once you generate the credit script, that credit script is available for freely utilization for paying the import duties or eligible import duties, one can say, and or you can transfer that to the another. You can transfer that to another exporter who intend to use that. So first and foremost, so let's discuss step by step. So as discussed, there are 5 steps for claiming the benefit. So let's discuss in detail each and every step. So first step is the declaration of the intention on the shipping bill. So as discussed, this declaration is applicable from the 1st January. So if you had filed the shipping bill from 1st January 2021, any of the shipping bill before this session, then the intention that you intend to claim that benefit was necessary. And if you had not mentioned that, then it is very difficult to claim the benefit against that shipping bill. So now going forward, please ensure that whenever you are, before filing of the shipping bill itself, you declared your intention that you intend to off the benefit or the claim under the RODTEP scheme. Now, at present, as discussed, the government has not yet given the final list of the goods wherein you get the benefit, and also the percentage of the, or one can say that the rate of the benefit. But as per the advisory issued, the government is saying that the declaration is mandatory for all the items. So at present, as we are not having the list of the items, declaration should be made for all the items, whether you intend to claim the benefit or not. So if you compare with the drawback, unlike drawback, there is no separate serial numbers, as the rates of RODTEP are not yet prescribed. So there are not separate serial number for each item. You have to just give your intention, or you have to share your intention whether you intend to claim the benefit or not. Now, what is the table in the shipping bill and how you are going to declare? So friends, there is an table wherein named the SW info type table. So in this table, you have to declare whether you intend to claim the benefit. So in the info type, you have to mention DTY. In the info QFR, you have to mention RDT. In the info code, now info code is very essential. In info code, if you mention RODTEPY, Y means yes. So if you mention Y, that means you intend to claim the RODTEP benefit. And if you mention RODTEPN, that is no, that means you don't intend to claim the benefit under the RODTEP. And if you don't mention anything, then definitely you are not intending to, it is you are not going to get the benefit of the RODTEP. Then in the info MSR, you have to mention the quantity of items. So how many items you are going to export. And in info UQC, you have to maintain the unit quantity or the unit for that item. So these are the declarations which required at the time of filing of the shipping bill itself. Now declaration, there is second table, and the table named is the statement table. In the statement table, you have to mention statement type as DC, and the statement code, it's a standard code for all the items, that is RD001, as the codes are not yet, other goods are not yet prescribed by the government. So once you file the shipping bill with the required content, so we had discussed about the content. Once you file the EGM with the required content, after filing of the EGM, claim will be get processed by the customer. So all the shipping bills of yours are sent to the RMS. Now, what is RMS? RMS is the risk management system, wherein they analyze your benefit or analyze the shipping bill on the basis of the risk. they will either shift it to the officer for the further processing, or will directly facilitate the scroll. So on the basis of risk analysis, your shipping bill claim or the claim of the ROTTEP either come to or either sent to the officer for the checking and then processing, or will directly get processed. That is, they will directly once scroll is generated, then yeah, the option is available. Once scroll is get generated, then you get the benefit or get the credit on the IceGate portal. So it's completely automated. You will get the credit after generation of the scroll on the IceGate portal. So if you had not yet registered on the portal, first and foremost, you have to register under the IceGate. Because everything you have to maintain on the IceGate itself. So please take the registration if you are not yet registered. Many of the exporter has not registered because they filing the shipping bill etc. through the agent. Then agent get the registration and they do from their account. So if you are not yet registered, you have to register for the claiming the benefit. So now whatever the advisory available we had discussed, but government has going to announce or going to publish a detailed advisory for the generation of the script, ledger maintenance, and the transfer facilities. So the detailed advisory we will get in the future for this generation of the scripts, etc. So now it's not available, but we had discussed whatever the data available till now in the public domain. Now, once you generate the script or script get generated, it will get reflected to the exporter ledger account, and that will be available either for the utilization. So you can utilize that for paying the eligible duties of the import or import duties, or you can transfer as discussed to the other entities having the IEC. So both are available. Both options are available, like unlike like MEIS only. So like scripts only, you can transfer the credit also, or the credit script. Only it's completely automated. Now, what are the care or what are the key attention? Some of the key attention is, first, as a foremost, you have to prescribe that you want to or you intend to appeal the scheme. So intention is must to get the benefit. And even though government has not yet notified, you have to claim the intention for each item. Now, once the rate get notified, so you had now or mentioned that your intention to claim the scheme. Once rate get notified, then system will automatically process your claim on the basis of rates. Second, please note that there is no change allowed in the claim after filing of the EGM. So after filing of the EGM, you can't change anything. So before filing of the EGM itself, please decide whether you intend to opt for the scheme or not, and accordingly opt. So this is about the procedure if you intend to opt for the scheme. Now, what is the online procedure? So if you refer the online procedure, the site or what is the site, the www.icegate.gov.in can be referred for that purpose. Second, there is a option after login, there is a credit ledger option wherein different tabs are available. So this is the credit ledger option. There is different tabs are available. If you see this circle, there is an tab called script transfer. So there are different tabs are available, like script management module, wherein you can manage script, your script, or you can create the script, etc. There are transaction details. So whatever in the transaction detail tab, you can get the transaction. What are the transaction made? From the script transfer tab, you can transfer the script. You have to approve the script transfer before transferring the script. So these are the different options are available in the credit ledger, and many more options are available. So you can get detailed advisory, details of advisory for all these options in days to come. Some of the advisory is already in the public domain, can be referred whenever online. But whenever you are doing anything online, please be careful, because any of the wrong claim or etc. can suffer on your benefits. So it completely, even though increase the cost or reduce the cost, it depends on the cost or what scheme you are going, how you are going to opt for, etc. So there is one declaration also given in the standard declaration. This is the declaration wherein you have to declare whether the you want to claim or not the ROTTP. So this is standard declaration has given by the government. You have to declare certain at the time of the shipping, filing of the shipping bill. So this is the online procedure. These are the procedure if you intend to claim the benefit. But now foremost question arises, how you can choose whether you intend to offer the scheme or which scheme is beneficial. So first of all, if you MEIS is now not available, RODTEP available. If we compare these two schemes, first under MEIS, you are aware that the incentive was available up to 2 to 5% of FOB value. So there was always of FOB value. But in the ROTTEP scheme, it is on the product-based incentive. So incentive is not yet announced, but it could be on the quantity based. So what quantity of the product has exported. But again, in above view, it can also, one can say export based, because whatever the percentage prescribed, let's say 2%, 5%, it is not exact duty which is embedded in each and every. So there could be some exporter for which 5% could be more, but there could be some exporter for whom 5% could be lower. But as a comparison with the current scheme, under RODT scheme, benefit is product based and not the FOB value based. Again, main is RODTEP is WTO compliant, whereas MEIS was not WTO compliant, and it's what challenged at the WTO. And incentives available was under MEIS are freely transferable scheme, but under the RODTEP, it's completely automated, and transferable duty credit and electronic credit script is going to be made available to the exporter under the RODTEP scheme. So now question arises whether the refund under RODTEP adequate to compensate the reward under MEIS. Now this question could differ for each and every exporter, and you have to make the impact analysis whether RODTEP scheme is really beneficial than MEIS scheme. If there is major loss to the revenue of the exporter, the representation can be preferred to the government in such a scenario. But it would be cost benefit analysis can be done only after announcement of the rates by the government. Now challenges, what are the challenges before the exporter? The first challenge is that the benefit of RODT, if you intend to claim the benefit of RODT claim, then as per the advisory issued, you are not eligible for certain benefits of the export like advance authorization, EOU, jobbing. So as an exporter, you have to make the impact analysis whether these benefits are essential, are more benefited, or these benefits are one can say are more than the RODTEP scheme or benefit mentioned under the RODTEP scheme. So cost benefit analysis and impact analysis is necessary. Again, why they are restricting these benefits like advance authorization, EOU, jobbing, etc. if you are claiming the RODTEP scheme? So rationale, they had given that they don't want the undue benefit. But in our view, there is no undue benefit because these schemes are completely different than the RODTEP scheme. But as of now, we had also presented to the government that these schemes are different. But now, if you are claiming this benefit, just keep in mind that these benefits are not available, and hence cost benefit analysis is very much essential before you are going to opt for the RODTEP scheme. So you have to compare which benefit, whether the present benefits of advance authorization are claiming that is beneficial to the organization, or claiming the RODTEP is the beneficial to the organization. Second challenge before the exporter is the clearance of the DTA or EOU. So whatever the clearance made by the domestic unit to the EOU or SEZ is treated as an export. But whether the RODTEP scheme is available to them or not, the intention of the government has not yet clarified, or this is clarification is not yet available. So whether they can claim the benefit or not, that could be clarified in the days to come. So these are the some challenges before the exporter. Now, somehow, first foremost challenge is that the government has not yet notified the rate, and hence you unable, or any exporter is now unable to compare the benefit, whether they intend to go for the advance authorization, etc., or go for the RODTEP. So friends, the exporter who had submitted the data to the government, on the basis of that, they are going to announce the rates. So if you are an exporter and you had already submitted data to the government in the R1, R2, R3, that data can be used for the impact analysis up to the date, till the date the government announced the rate for the RODTEP scheme. So this data can be used further, and the again, whoever not submitted the data, that then they can determine your or you can determine your embedded taxes. What are the embedded taxes in your product, or industry level embedded taxes, so that you can at least tentatively get an idea what could be the benefit which you will get under this scheme in days to come. So friends, this is about the scheme. We had discussed about the scheme, and just as a way forward from the today's session is definitely first and foremost way forward is, before opting for the scheme, you require to do the cost benefit analysis or the impact analysis to whether you really intend to claim this benefit or not, and which benefit is essential, which policy or the scheme is beneficial to your organization. Second, please revisit the shipping bills filed, whether shipping bills are filing of the shipping bill is as per the RODTEP. If you intend to claim the benefit, whether you had declared your intention in the shipping bill. Second, friends, anytime whenever there is any new scheme introduced, active participation in the initial stage would only reduce the impact, if any. So any mistake, so many times whenever, like when GST law was introduced on the 1st July, many mistake was made at the time of the in 17-18 and even the financial year 18-19 by many of the taxpayers, and that mistakes are now liable, or because of that mistakes, many of the taxpayers are now liable for the interest and penalty during the GST departmental audit. So don't make such a mistake. So initial participation during initial stage. So in our client, when GST law was introduced, if you see, there are very minimal, or one can say nil mistakes, because everyone was actively participated during the GST implementation. So you during implementation itself reduce your mistakes and get active participation, so that there should not be any cost afterwards. Or then second, if you have during the implementation or during the cost benefit analysis, you get that the whatever the benefits are available are not sufficient, are not as per the earlier benefit, then definitely you can prefer representation to MOC, DGFT or MOF, or you can send the representation or concern to us. We will definitely try to forward that to the trade chambers or the DGFT, so that your concerns get sorted out. So this is about the